Welcome back, everybody, and thank you once again for joining us here on Instagram for another Waldorf Wine Wednesday. I'm Christian LaRoche. I'm sales manager for Waldorf Wine Group here in Vancouver, and I'm really glad you could join us here once again. Waldorf Wine Wednesday, as the name implies, it's a clearinghouse of all things Waldorf Wine Group. We look at wines that are currently in the market. We look at new vintages that are just coming into the market. We look at samples that we're considering bringing to market, and everything in between. So we've got a bit of a different one this week, something we don't see too often. I mean, I'm really glad we got it back in. I really enjoyed this wine. It's something that we brought in a few years back, and when we first brought it in, it was only available for private wine shops and restaurants, but we brought it back in with a little more quantity, and now it's available at the BCLDB. And if you want to check something out that's really cool, a wee bit different, it's got a great label, great package, it's great value for what it is. I really like this style. I really do. If you haven't done so already, I invite you, and I ask this every week, but please, if you haven't done so already, please do follow us here on Instagram. Like I say, it's a great way to keep up to date of all things Waldorf Wine Group out here in British Columbia. Hey, listen, before we get going, we had a couple of technical issues last week. Well, maybe not so much for you folks going out. I had some sound issues, very strange stuff. I can get it on my phone, no problem with the sound. But when I actually was watching my video from last week, we tried the Marquis de Terme 2015. We were doing sort of a vintage catch-up just to sort of see how a particular wine was evolving, and I had no sound on my desktop, but no problem. It seems like for people, I asked a few people, did you see the video? Did it work? And yeah, it seemed like it was working. So anyway, fingers crossed. I did a test run before we started today, and it seems to be working. So, but like I said, before we get any further, I just want to say one thing. It's my parents' wedding anniversary today, so I just want to say happy anniversary to my folks. I've got a groovy shot of them here from a few years ago. Check it out. That's my dad, rest in peace, and my beautiful mom, who's now down in Colombia. That's probably them back in the early to mid-'70s. My dad with his groovy Clark Gable mustache, and my mom looking beautiful as ever. And I love them to death. And happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. Love you madly, and so glad you guys got together. Anyway, back to this week's wine. Yeah, it's something a bit different. We don't see much of this in the market, to be sure. This is, well, we're talking about people in love and, a great couple that came together. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about a wine that's brought to us by another couple. And let's flip the camera, show you what we're trying. This is a neat one. So this is lovely Lilly Pinot Noir. This is a really juicy, elegant Pinot Noir from Baden, Germany. Yeah, German Pinot Noir. We don't see a ton of it here in the market. And what we do tend to see is usually a little higher up the food chain. We bring in a lovely Pinot Noir from the Rheingau from Künstler Winery. And there's a few other ones available at the private wine shops that we see around town. Fabulous wines. There's a couple of great ones in here, but as is the case with a lot of Pinot Noir, I'm going to just flip the camera out to see a few more people joining us. As is the case with a lot of Pinot Noir is an expensive minefield. There, I said it. And it's true. It's funny. We bring in a lot of wines, and it doesn't matter how cheap they are. Sometimes you might struggle to sell, but Pinot Noir, people, I think, expect it. You're going to pay a little bit more for it, and it better be good. And that's the thing with a lot of the German Pinot Noirs that we've brought in before. A lot of them are not inexpensive. We are getting quite well into Burgundy territory in terms of pricing, and maybe Oregon Pinot, and better a higher end California Pinot as well too. But in the case of what we're trying here, this is we mentioned, this is a husband and wife team, Hans-Bert Espe and Silke Wolf. Boy, those are great names. They met back at wine school in Geisenheim in the Rheingau years back, and they got together and they started buying vineyards in the early 2000s and in the southwesterly region of Baden. We'll pull that up in a bit on the Google Earth map, but we're far, far south in Germany, near the Black Forest, near the Rhine River. We're literally just across the Rhine from Alsace. And it's interesting because we have seen some Pinot Noirs from that region before, but it's interesting. We can get into it a little bit later, but quite a few of the wines we saw coming into the market were either very, very extracted, opulent, and sometimes there was a fashion, I think, to really, really use a lot of new oak on the wine. So we got a lot of these high octane, overly oaked caricatures of Pinot Noir that would come in, and for big bucks too. So they're impressive, but quite a few of them, you get tired of drinking them after about a glass or so. And so, which is why I love a wine like Lovely Lily, Shelter Winery, and I'll get into that a little bit later as to why it's called Shelter Winery, but super, super elegant, lithe, juicy, high natural acidity, lower alcohol, just very delicate, elegant, super, super poised Pinot Noirs. This is a Pinot Noir I like to drink. It's so juicy, so versatile, food friendly, and goes well without food as well. Getting back to Hans-Bert, Espe, and Silky Wolf, let's get into the wine a wee bit. They are Pinot Noir specialists. They bought some mature vineyards. The winery started up officially back in around 2003. And when they first set up shop, well, the first thing they did, they bought vineyard parcels rather, around Baden. And they were initially based in a Canadian Air Force hangar called the Shelter Building, and hence the name for they took the name from that building and applied it to the winery. Now they're based down in Kensington in Baden, and they're farming now. They're very small production, all hands-on, organically farmed, no pesticides, no herbicides, no pumps, no filters. Everything is done by hand, and they're farming 5 hectares. And so very, very hands-on operation, low-key, just making some really super, super elegant, juicy Pinot Noirs, and that's what they specialize in. They do Lovely Lily is their more fruit-driven style. The next tier up is their Spätburgunder, which spends about 16 months in oak, and then the top-end wine is their Pinot Noir. They also do a still Blanc de Noir, and they do a sparkling Blanc de Noir as well too. So some interesting stuff going on there, to be sure. So this is our first foray with Lovely Lily at the BCLDB. It just started going out into the BCLDB stores. For the moment, we're only in 20 stores. Lovely Lily Pinot Noir product is 121564. On the shelf, $29.99. So sort of in the middle tier, not cheap, not super expensive, but for Pinot Noir, very, very fairly priced. I will say that. Yes, I do import the wine. Yes, I do sell it, but I've tried a lot of Pinot Noirs in my life, and boy, I got to tell you, this is really, really good value for what it is, and a wee bit different. Makes if you're going to a friend's place or you're going to a wine tasting or doing anything like that too, and you want to bring something cool and a little bit out into left field, grab a bottle of Lovely Lily. Hey, and don't forget, Valentine's Day is coming up too. Very nice celebratory wine to enjoy with the one that you love. But getting back to it, what were we talking about? Oh, yes, 5 hectares. They bought vineyards first. They're based in the town. Well, getting back to the Shelter Building. The Shelter Building was a Royal Canadian Air Force hangar. Lovely Lilly. Lilly was their dog, their vineyard and their winery dog, who sadly passed away in 2014, but they have replaced Lilly with another of the same breed. Don't know what the breed is, actually, but it is a spotted dog. And of course, the wine's named after that. Like, who doesn't love a dog on the label? Look at it. Check it out. Isn't that beautiful? Oops, we'll do that once more. Try that once more. Yeah, check out that puppy. Isn't that cute? And we got that lovely dandelion on the side there and the whole bit there. What's not to like? Yeah, the other thing too I like to see is also the wine comes in full Stelvin screw cap closure. We've got to like that. Cut down on any of those cork to bottles and the like there. Yeah, they are farming 5 hectares in Kensington and a little further south in Malterdingen. And I think we should do. I'll tell you what. While I've got the map up, let's just get the bottle out of the way. I'll show you where we're located here. Let's move Lovely Lily. And so we are, of course, in southwest Germany. So Frankfurt, Mannheim, Stuttgart, and then as we go a little further to the southwest, like way down deepest south of Germany, we're just south of Rust and Lahr, where we had Canadian Forces base, and we're just alongside the Rhine River here. But if you go a little bit further south, there's an area just south here, about half hour, well, actually about 45 minutes south of Kensington. But this whole area here around Vogtsburg, this whole area here is known as the Kaiser stool, the seat of the Kaiser. And what it is, it's a volcanic soil region, and that's where a lot of the Pinot Noirs were coming from before, that I was talking about before. So no problem ripening here. And for quite a while, the style was to make these, like I said, these very opulent, quite extracted Pinot Noirs with lots of new French oak on them and things like that. So they were quite pricey to begin with, but they were also, like I said, a very extracted style. And it's so interesting because you go just a little further north, like a half hour, 45 minutes, and we're getting off of the volcanic soils in Kensington and Malterdingen, just a little further south. And this whole area here, now let me pull the map back up, but this whole area here, it's sheltered by the Black Forest. And the soil here is quite different. It's not that volcanic soil anymore. We're getting onto limestone, kind of like what they have in Burgundy. The winery is actually, they built the purpose-built winery a number of years ago. They had to leave the shelter building, so they set up shop here just on the outskirts of town in Kensington, and they have a custom-built winery now with solar panels, and they took a little bit of a playbook out of the shelter building, which was it's a hangar, but it was also more of like a kind of like a bunker style. So this is partially submerged. There's earthworks around here to keep things insulated, and most of the vineyards are just to the south east of the town here. And on average, 25 to 30-year-old vines. Like I said, everything is hand harvested, and a little bit further south around here, around Malterdingen as well too. We get some more of the vineyards there for Shelter Winery. But as I mentioned before, I'm just going to flip the camera around. Yeah, as I mentioned before, everything's hand harvested. It's destemmed. It undergoes a short cold soak followed by a gentle pressing, and then fermentation. It's a spontaneous fermentation, all native yeasts in open top fermenters, and then after that's done, it gets transferred into oak barrels of varying ages. I mean, they use mostly older oak up to about going all the way up to like 5 years old. So again, the oak is more of a neutral vessel, especially on a wine like Lovely Lily, which is more fruit driven. We're talking 13% alcohol. Current vintage is the 2020 vintage. Another a hot vintage, another drought vintage, and also a very early vintage with reduced yields. But we also had that nice phenomenon of warm days and cool nights, so a good diurnal shift. There's lots of still fresh, crunchy, natural acidity in the wine, which I love to see. To me, the acidity it's the central nervous system of the wine, and you really want something, when you're having a wine as gentle and fresh as a Pinot Noir like this, it's really nice to have that juicy acidity in behind it, because you don't want just, that candied fruit. You don't want anything that's too unctuous and overwhelming or dripping with oak as well. So to me, that's what it's almost like having. I've described this before in some wines. When you have that high natural acidity after you take a sip of the wine, it's almost like it's like a liquid sorbet. It refreshes you after each sip, and I think that's very, very important. What else can I tell you? I think that's about all we've got for the wine. I'll tell you what. Why don't we give the wine a try? I've had the wine open for a little while. Now, these lighter style Pinot Noirs, they're, the same. Not that we're there yet, but of course it's a consideration for as we get later in the year and we transfer our dining from, our dining rooms indoors to our patios and our decks outdoors. So that al fresco dining, I think, demands a wine that is very aromatic, much like this wine, but also a lot of our red wines. I've always made this point, particularly lighter fruit-driven reds. Don't be afraid to chill them a wee bit. We tend to drink our red wines too warm, our white wines too cold. I always say that 20-minute rule for a lot of the wines. 20 minutes before the meal, the white comes out of the fridge, the red goes in the fridge. Because don't forget, if you're having an alfresco meal on a warm day, or you're around the barbecue, around the pool, or anything like that too, if you serve it cool or even a little bit cold, the wine will always come back up to temperature. But if you start it at that temperature and it warms up, it just gets hot and soupy, and that's no fun. Nobody likes that. So, much as I do with, a Gamay, or, an unoaked Mencía from Spain, or a Mondeuse from Savoie, any of those lighter wines, Verduna Palaverga from northern Italy as well, too. Anything like that. It was a little bit of a chill on it. Now, I've gotten away from my Riedel Riesling Chianti. Last week we were using the Overture Magnum for our Marquis de Teint Bordeaux. I'm back into the Riedel Vinum Pinot Noir, and you can see already, that beautiful light ruby color. It's very, very translucent. You can really see it. This is not a deeply colored wine, but just a beautiful clear, deep ruby with a little bit of pink in the rim. It's still not showing much evolution. I opened this wine up, I probably poured a little bit in my glass. What I did is I kept it, I've got a little cooler off to the side here, kept it in there for about an hour, poured a little bit in my glass, let it open up, and then I topped it up a wee bit just before we started shooting the video. So let's give it a swirl and a sniff. Cheers, Mom and Dad. Ooh, super, super high toned. Let me give it a swirl and a sniffy sniff. Channeling my Gary Vaynerchuk there, way back when, I guess. Yeah, total fresh strawberries, and got a little note of like high toned, like cranberry, sort of pomegranate. But I'm picking up a little bit of that, that sort of funky beetroot, a little bit of earthy going on, maybe a little bit of that. Sort of that peat moss, sort of medicinal, earthy, warm earth smell too. So let's give it a swirl and a taste. Love that nose. Super, super fresh. Wow. Really super lively, juicy. Again, that cranberry and pomegranate fall through, but really nice and silky. Medium bodied, medium plus acidity for sure. Very juicy, quite bright, kind of minerally in the mid palate. Let's have another quick sip of that. Smack. Beautiful. All that crunchy acidity. Good replay of fruit on the finish too. That's pretty darn persistent. It's got a little bit of dusty tannin on the finish there too. Yeah, I'm really enjoying that. That's a beautiful fresh wine. I wouldn't go with anything too heavy with anything like that too. I mean, I think this would be great with just herb roasted chicken or something like that. Maybe some gourmet sausages. This would be a great pizza wine. I mean, come on. Or just on its own, maybe some charcuterie and cheese and that sort of thing too. But I'm gonna have another sip. It's my parents' anniversary. Mm. 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 Oh man, $29.99. What's not to like? That's a great juicy Pinot Noir for the money. That really delivers. I'm really pleased with that too. So let's flip it around. We are in Baden, Germany. Yeah, this Pinot ain't no dog, man. Let me tell you, this is lovely Lilly Pinot Noir 2020. Look for the puppy on the label. Buy yourself a puppy. And beautiful dandelion on the label. Yeah, this is from Shelter Winery in Baden, Germany, brought to us by Hans-Bert, Espe, and Silke Wolf. This is available at BCLDB stores around the province, just starting to go out into the system. 121564 is the product code, $29.99 a bottle. So check it out if you can. Something a wee bit different, but great Pinot Noir from an unlikely source, I guess, in this market. I don't imagine a lot of you have tried Baden Pinot Noir or Spätburgunder in the past, but it's well worth checking out. What else can I tell you? A couple of new products have rolled in right now. We have a grower champagne, and it's called Lancelot, so it's got to be good. We got a couple more SKUs that just came in, only available at the private shops. Hey, we brought in the instant present Blanc de Blanc. That just went live today, so expect that at private shops in the near future. And they also do a Rosé Délice, another one that's using Solera wines for the reserve as well. So check that out. That just came on stream. Our organic Sicilian Frappato from Gargante is back in stock, but the warehouse Container World is still doing their import inventory count, so it's not available just yet. Hopefully we'll get that available next week. Lots of other things. We're running a couple of pre-offers on some 2015 Cru Classé Bordeaux. We're if you're interested in some, I've got some offers on some Chateau d'Isson, Margaux Third Growth, and I've got some 2015 Chateau Aubailly if you're interested. Those are both available in 6-packs. It's Cru Classé Bordeaux. It's gonna cost you. I've also got some library releases from Zellbach Oster. We've got some 2012 Spätlese and some 2013, and it's 2012 Spätlese, not Trocken, Joanne. It's straight up Spätlese. There is it is a sweeter version. We also have some 2013 1-star Auslese that Mr. Zellbach has kindly made available to us, a few cases for down the road. So if any of you are interested in anything, DM me here or shoot me an email at Christian, and that's with a KHRISTIAN at waldorfwine.com. Drop me a line. We'll hook you up. We've updated our price list, a few more products here. Next week, I don't know what we're going to be doing still. I thought we were going to be doing the white Burgundy this week. I've got some German wine possibly lined up here. I've also got the new Estate Chianti Classico Organic from Badia Coltibuono, the 2019 on tap as well. Yeah, a few other things. But anyway, stay tuned. We've got some cool wines coming, and I think that's about all we've got time for this week. Hey, thank you so much for joining us here once again. If you haven't done so already, please do follow us here on Instagram. And once again, check out some lovely Lily at BCLDB. Take care, and bye for now.